Once again, we'd like to welcome you to today's edition of the Morning Call. Presidential candidates in Nigeria have vowed to hold peaceful elections this Saturday as campaigning came to a close on Thursday. In a national broadcast on Thursday, outgoing President Muhammadu Buhari, who is running for a second term in office, told Nigerians to choose between going backward or keeping with the momentum of change, which, according to him, the country has been enjoying since his administration took over power in 2015. Buhari faces a strong challenge from Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party, who has largely campaigned against the president's record in office.
2003, 2007 and 2011, years that will certainly have forged or strengthened Muhammadu Buhari in his desire to lead Nigeria, since after losing the presidential election 3 times, he got back on the saddle in 2015 and won. Buhari became the first opposition candidate to win a presidential election since the advent of democracy. The former general was then 72 years old. Nigeria had just become the continent's leading economy ahead of South Africa, but large-scale corruption scandals in Goodluck Jonathan's government, among others, had defeated his predecessor. It was partly because of his promises to fight corruption and outlaw the Islamist sect Boko Haram that he, Buhari, was elected. Austerity and intransigence were his trademark. In the 1980s, he had just taken power after a coup d'etat. Buhari showed no clemency for corruption. In 20 months, around 500 politicians and businessmen were arrested. More recently, he has long refused to negotiate with the new avenging groups in the Delta, and it is his vice president who took advantage of one of his medical stays in London to conclude an exit from the crisis with the rebels. Some analysts blame Buhari for his inaction and inability to govern due to his illness. Between May 2016 and July 2017, Buhari spent almost 6 months abroad to seek treatment. Another black spot of his mandate, Boko Haram has still not been defeated and has resumed attacks against soldiers and citizens. The former army general had campaigned hard on security and vowed to defeat Boko Haram in the last election in 2015. Despite this mixed security record, Buhari continues to gather impressive crowds in the north of the country where he comes from. Born in Daura, Katsina State, he was his father's 23rd child. At 19 years old, he joined the army, and it is under this cap that he participated in 2 coups d'etats. The first, particularly bloody, in 1966. The second, in 1983, overthrew the democratically elected president, Shehu Shagari, before taking his place as the head of state until 1985.
Nigeria's former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has for years faced criticism of accusations that he took advantage of his political career to grow his businesses. The 2019 presidential candidate was in charge of Nigeria's customs while at the same time managed a large import-export company. Leader of the Democratic People's Party is a multimillionaire, having invested in many sectors such as oil, agriculture, telecommunications, and more recently, in health. I felt that someone like me had to run. Someone experienced in politics, experienced in leadership, experienced in business, to try to restore and put the country back on track in terms of economic development. At 72, this election is his 4th attempt to become president. He's not new to the presidency as he has served as vice president from 1999 to 2000. Atiku resigned in the face of ex-president Olusegun Obasanjo's ambition to amend the constitution to run for a 3rd term. Atiku has been cited over money laundering cases, but the veteran politician hopes to be a unifier against President Muhammadu Buhari. He has intensified campaign on social media by going on Facebook Live and live tweeting. Atiku has held interactive question-and-answer sessions with his voters. Coming from a very poor family in Adamawa State in Northeast and having had little education, Atiku promises to give back to his fellow people. That's why I want to be president, to give back to my country what it has allowed me to become, he recently told AFP in an interview.
Our journalist, Jerry Bambi, currently in Lagos, was able to meet with opposition leader Boniface Anyebonam, president of the New Nigeria People's Party. He asked him if he thought there were reasons to fear for violence or irregular voting. Listen to his answer.
Well, I think I could just have a word for Mr. President. Prosperity we judge. If you look back, good luck handed over. They had all it takes to do, not to do so. And he said, if it is because of my presidency and one head will die, I will not. And look at Mr. President. He's been a head of state. Today again, God presented him to rewrite the wrong. That some of the things he wanted to do when he came first, he couldn't do that. 4 years now, he's seen what it is. And I think he's tried to do the best he can. Okay, but I have confidence that by utterances of Mr. President recently, to me, that is the expectation of the people. In as much as some people, for their personal reasons, tend to misunderstanding, he said, vote for a candidate of your choice, and the election must count. He has said it all. You see, that is where I was having a problem with him. These are some of the things I expect him to be telling us all this while. You understand? Reassuring the nation that, no, this is the way we are going. It's not about any of the media aides to come out here and say, we want to know the other. It's not taken. What is Mr. President saying? Okay? So I think what we need to do now is to live with what we have and make out the best out of it for the good of the greater numbers. And that's what democracy is all about.
Voilà donc pour cette réaction de Monsieur Adebonam. The response. We stay with Lagos, our journalist who is in Lagos. Hello, Jerry. Final touches before this much-awaited election. Nigerian citizens will go to the polls tomorrow. You're in Lagos, the economic capital of Nigeria. How would you describe the mood in this city of 20 million inhabitants? Jerry?
Yes, indeed, tomorrow is the day. I will be going all around Lagos, going about the polling booths to see exactly what is taking place, how Nigerians are exercising their civic responsibility. Nigeria is Africa's most populous country, and there's so much attention globally to these elections and towards the stability of this country as an important player in democracy on the continent and on the global stage.
That's right, Jerry. All eyes will be in Nigeria this Saturday in these polls. And you have been on the ground getting what the atmosphere is like, especially from the people. Let's listen in to some of them.
Two parties are almost the same thing. Like, I think we've experienced first from Buhari and then Atiku past years from Nigeria. So I think the only thing, what we want is just change, just a bit. If Buhari could just step down so we can experience something a little bit different, you know, not like we've not seen what Atiku can actually do from the past few years. But it's still the same thing, same bad governance and everything.
Voilà donc pour cette première réaction depuis Lagos.
That's the first response from Lagos, a Nigerian citizen who hopes that the election will take place in peace and calm. Jerry, there's another person ready to share their opinion with you right there. Let's hear it.
On vous passe la parole puisque vous êtes avec un autre interlocuteur.
The election tomorrow will not be marked by, we're not going to say it's going to be free and fair because all indices are sure that the election is not going to be free and fair. But we hope we have peace. The important thing we're going to have tomorrow is that by the grace of God, we're going to have peace.
And would you be voting tomorrow?
Well, I've changed my mind. Literally, before I don't want to vote, but tomorrow I will go and cast my vote.
Very good, brilliant. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have some other Nigerians here with me, and I will be. It's the morning rush hour, and everyone is trying to get to work really fast. But then I will be trying to speak to them.
Écoutez, merci Jerry.
Thank you for some of that information from Lagos. I know you'll continue to follow the news closely in the coming hours and days, so we'll see you soon.
All right, a pleasure speaking to you on the morning call. Thank you very much, and speak to you soon again.